welcome to Alpha Militaria TV. Thanks very much for tuning in once again. We really do appreciate it. And I'd like to say thank you to all of our regular subscribers for subscribing, and invite anyone who's found us perhaps for the first time to hit the subscribe button too. And obviously, if you like what you see, hit the like button too. Now, down below you'll find some links to our recently launched Discord channel, where we have lots of good airgun related chat going on. Also, you can find a link to our website, alphamilitaria.com, which in addition to having our store on it, which sells scopes and accessories, also has a bunch of airgunning reviews and features on it. And then also down below you'll find some links to some Amazon pages for some products that I use on a regular basis. Now then, back to the fun part. So we're talking today about a new old rifle, or new old rifle. This is the Air Arms S510TR, or Tactical. Obviously, as the name suggests, it's based on the very successful, very reliable, excellent Air Arms S510 regulated. But this rifle has a very clearly a tactical stock to it, which is where the T comes from. So you have this tried and tested mechanical action, very accurate action in a new dress. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk through the rifle from back to front as we normally do, zoom in on a few key features, talk about the whole magazine process and the air filling process, and then I'll take it down to one of my permissions and put a few shots through it. So the S510TR then, as I said, based obviously on the very successful S510 regulated model, you basically have two versions to this rifle. The standard rifle is the 12 foot-pound rifle, which is what this is, and this is available in 177 and 22 caliber, and the standard 12 foot-pound rifle will cost you around about £1,349. That's the recommended retail price. You may be able to find it a little bit cheaper by shopping around, but probably where we are right now, bang on it being launch time, it's going to be around that kind of price mark just about everywhere. And then there is an FAC rifle which costs £100 more, so £1,449, and that's available in 177, 22 and 25 caliber as well. Now the stats for the two rifles. So the rifle, the 12 foot-pound rifle, because of this sliding stock, and we'll come into that in a second, goes from a minimum length of 900 millimeters out to a maximum length of 985 millimeters, which is what you see here. And the rifle has a 395 millimeter barrel. Now the longer rifle, the FAC rifle, goes from 985 millimeters at its shortest length out to 1070 millimeters at its longest length, and has a 495 millimeter barrel. Now in terms of weight, the 12 foot-pound rifle is 2.8 kilos, so a shade over 6 pounds, and the FAC rifle is just over 3 kilos, or a little bit under 7 pounds. Both of those weights are obviously without a scope attached. Now the 12 foot-pound rifle in 177 will give you around about 90 shots to a 250 bar fill, and in 22 will give you about 120 shots in to a 250 bar fill. So ample for shooting, and also good for use on the range as well. Now the FAC rifle is obviously more geared towards hunting, and the 20 foot-pound 177 rifle will give you around about 40 shots. The 30 foot-pound 22 rifle will give you 35 shots, and the 40 foot-pound 25 rifle will give you 25 shots to a fill. And because that the action is regulated with Air Arms' own design regulator, those shots are very consistent as well. Now, before we go through the key features, I want to point out that the cool thing about this rifle is that although this is just shipping now, is just coming out into the market, and Air Arms is concentrating on fulfilling its orders for the full rifle, they have said that they will make the stock available to buy on its own. Now they haven't released a price for that just yet, and those stocks on their own aren't yet available in the shops, but they will be in the near future. And the really cool thing is that if you have an S400, S410, S500, S510 that's made 2010 or later, then the stock will fit straight onto your rifle without any kind of modification. And also applies to the MPR FT and the HFT 500 rifles as well, made after 2010. But if your rifle is older than that, if it's made before 2010, you can still get this stock, and Air Arms will also sell you like a modification kit so that you can attach it to your older rifle. So really, really good feature. That means that, you know, if aesthetics are important to you, you've effectively got two guns for the price of one, for the price of the stock. Now then, let's walk around the rifle then. So at the back you have this telescopic stock, and I should say this is the 12 foot-pound rifle. This is a 2.2 rifle. So this is the shorter of the two rifles. Now hopefully you can see there's a little pivot catch up here, which push it up, and that will enable you to move the stock along about an 85mm range. And then at the bottom here is a little catch which locks it. So when you push that pivot catch up, that catch pops out, enables you to move, and then when you want to lock it into position, you just push that catch in again. And there is a tiny little bit of movement in it, if I'm honest. You know, with that catch locked up, it's very, very minimal. You'd be hard pressed to spot it, to be honest. Forward of that is obviously the pistol grip. Slightly rubberized texture to it, makes it very comfortable. There's no contours, there's no finger contours for it, but there are some ridges at the back and at the front that make it nice and grippy as well, and the overall material itself is nice and grippy too. You can't really shoot this with a thumb up position, but wrapped around it's very comfortable. Sets you up to access the excellent Air Arms 2-stage trigger, fully adjustable as well. Lets off really, really crisply. I really like the Air Arms trigger. I think it's one of the best ones on the market, except for the fact that the safety catch is located within the trigger blade. Now, you know, I always moan about that. I don't think that safety catches anywhere near the trigger is a good idea. And, you know, safety catches within the trigger blade itself, you know, even more so. But there's no denying it is very, very accessible with your trigger finger. It's a little button at the top here. You push it from the right to the left to make the gun live, and then you push it from the left through to the right to lock it up again. Now, on top of that, you have the side lever action. Yeah, again, anyone with an S510 will be very familiar with this. It kind of sort of very softly locks back into position, which I quite like. It stops it flapping around. There's a first stage to it, and then there's a second stage to actually cock the rifle. It's not sprung at all, but it's very, very smooth, very well engineered, and is a real delight to use. Now on top, you have a couple of Picatinny rails. There's a very short one at the front here, and there's a slightly longer one at the back. Plenty of room for you to be able to mount a scope, be it a traditional eye relief scope like this one, or a zero eye relief scope like a SWAT, or something like that. The one thing you just need to make sure though is that you have, because the magazine sits proud of the action, you just want to have a set of mounts that will ensure that the saddle of your scope, the sort of the kind of bit, the flat part at the bottom of your scope, will clear the top of the magazine. Otherwise, obviously, you're going to run into problems loading your magazine. Now, forward of that, you have this shrouded barrel, which is finished off with Air Arms' own silencer, which is sort of incorporated into the overall design of the rifle. It's a nice chunky silencer, really looks the part. Let me move this over so you can see it. Really looks the part. And also does a really good job of hushing things down as well. At the front here, you have a cap which screws off to reveal the loading port, and again we'll show you that in close up in a second or two. I said before, it takes a 250 bar fill. And then the fore end is designed with this M-lock system. So you have slots on the side, slots underneath, slots on the other side, which enable you to attach accessories in lots of different positions. And in actual fact, if I turn it around this way, you get a Picatinny rail an accessory rail for a torch or a sling swivel or something like that on the side here, and you can swap that over to the other side very easily. And then underneath you have this very sort of militaristic handle, which again you can move to different places up and down the fore end thanks to that M-lock system. And then finally, just to mention, underneath here you have the pressure gauge, which will give you an indication as to what your overall fill pressure is. So I think those are the key features on the rifle. We'll zoom in on a few of those now, show you the whole magazine process and the air filling process, and then we'll go down to one of my permissions and take a few shots. The magazine is very simple to load. This is the back of the magazine, this clear plate here. You want that facing you when you look down the rifle. And hopefully, I don't know if you can see, but there's like a little patch of ridges there, which basically indicates to you that that's where you grip the magazine to put it into the breech, facing you, as I say, with that plastic coat looking back at you. Now, there's no need to rotate the inner drum at all. You simply drop your pellets in to the exposed hole, and then you can hopefully see that there's a little wheel on the side here, and you turn that round to the next, to expose the next chamber, drop another pellet in. It's not sprung at all, so it's not going to come flying back to the start. You just keep literally rotating it round, dropping your pellets in. As I said, you get 10 shots in 177 and 22. I must admit, I don't know what the FAC 25 caliber magazine is. I suspect it might be 8 shots, but it could possibly be 10. But if anyone knows, I'm sure they'll correct me on the comments. So there you go, that's the magazine full. Now I should say that you can rotate this inner drum clockwise or anti-clockwise to load it. It really doesn't matter. Just once you've filled up all the pellets in the magazine, insert it into the breech, as I say, by gripping that little patch of ridges. You get 2 magazines with the S510TR, which I like. I always like it when you get 2 magazines with a rifle. And removing the magazine from the breech is very, very simple. Put your safety catch on first, and then cock the lever, the side lever, right the way back. Apologies, you can't see that, it's on the other side of the rifle. But push it back as far as it will go to actually cock the rifle. And then the magazine pulls out from the left-hand side. Takes 10 shots in 177 and 22. And then once you've loaded the magazine, it's simply a case of pushing it back in the breech again and returning the side lever. Now, the filling system on all Air Arms is slightly different to most other manufacturers. Most other manufacturers get a probe which actually pokes into the hole of the fill port itself. With an Air Arms, you get this filler adapter. Now, you get the gold part comes with the rifle itself. The silver part is an aftermarket attachment. And the filling attachment comprises of, there's like a large hole on one side, and then on the reverse side there's a slot. Hopefully you can see that. And what you need to do is take off the end cap from the cylinder, and then right on the end here, hopefully you can see there's like a little bar just there. So what you need to do is you need to put the filler attachment on with the hole facing you, or facing the back of the rifle. Push that on, and then align that with that T-bar and the slot, so that the T-bar goes through the slot, and then rotate it through 90 degrees to lock it on. Then obviously you put your air hose onto the end of the attachment, be it from a compressor, a bottle, or a stirrup pump, and then fill that to 250 bar. Obviously bleed the air out of your filler hose, rotate that attachment round again so that it fits over that T-bar, and then replace the cap on the cylinder to keep everything clean and dirt free. Well, there you go. That is the Air Arms S510TR tactical regulated. Quick rundown on the rifle. What we're going to do is now I'm going to nip down to one of my permissions and put a few shots through it. So I'm down on one of my permissions with the Air Arms S510TR. I'm going to get my excuses in nice and early. It's freezing cold and there's a real wind that's blowing left to right, then it's blowing right to left. So I'm sure that's going to affect the accuracy. But I've set a target out at 30 meters. I've got Air Arms Diablo field pellets in here, 5.52 size. So let's see how we get on. Well, that's all 10 shots. You're not going to be impressed by that. When the wind drops, it's pellet on pellet. But when it picks up again, it's blowing them all over the place. Anyway, let's go and have a look. Well, that's 8 pellets in that group there. The first one actually knocked the dot through the target, so I wasn't quite sure on my aim point, but that's not a bad group there. And then those last 2, real couple of strong gusts came right through from the side and blew those off target. So I would discount those 2 and concentrate on that being a fairly sort of ragged hole, one hole group, which yeah, 30 meters is not too bad given the conditions. Well, that's our review of the Air Arms S510TR, the tactical regulated rifle. Really is a delight to shoot, I have to say. Nice and light, very compact. The ergonomics of this tactical stock work really, really well. Yeah, lovely rifle. Now, I would say that given the conditions today, where it's quite blustery, it wasn't really doing us any favours with regards to the accuracy test. When the wind dropped, it was nice and accurate, nice grouping, but a couple of pellets got absolutely blown off course. Now, I've shot Air Arms S510 rifles lots of times in the past, and they all, without exception, have been pinpoint accuracy. And I'm absolutely sure that, but for the conditions, this would be exactly the same. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. If you did, please hit the like button. And if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing. And if you'd like to know more about this rifle and the Air Arms range and a whole bunch of other airgunning topics, check out our website, alphamilitaria.com, and our Discord channel, details below. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.